challenge Hartman people.
No, seriously, what's
We go until 7:30.
7:30 would be the latest that anybody
The
would be willing to
latest.
stay. Yes.
Okay.
What time do you usually?
We usually end at 7:30 for a Thursday. For a Tuesday session.
Okay.
The shorter the merrier. Okay. Okay, so I'm Rani Jaeger. I grew up in Tel Aviv. I live now in Jerusalem. I don't call myself a Jerusalemite because for doing that you have to be, carry with yourself the memories of 48, the siege, and all kinds of that. I'm not there. I'm living in Jerusalem. My wife is a Jerusalem. That's a particular way of even expressing yourself. I moved up to Jerusalem, an accent and all kinds of weird words, and a sense of it's a different word set. I moved up to Jerusalem after the army, and I decided to study Jewish philosophy and history after wanting to become a medical doctor, and for all kinds of reasons that worked only through a particular way, and I didn't want to move that way. I won't repeat that joke because already people heard it, so it's an awful thing to repeat that joke to the same crowd. I mean, obviously I get it now. In any case, and there at the Hebrew University, I met Professor David Hartman. He passed away this year, unfortunately. I can say again, like I said yesterday, that he really changed my life. I'm a graduate of a public high school in Tel Aviv, certainly a good one. But one of the things that struck me, and I think it's connected to your work here, to the exhibition, to the endeavor of the museum, was that I graduated high school. Of course, I knew the Bible, I knew holidays, all kinds of good Jewish knowledge. But I knew nothing about Talmud. I mean, I knew that there was the book, Talmud. I knew how it looked like, but I really didn't know what's inside of it. And so I had to take David Hartman's class. I didn't know who he was. I wasn't from them, the Jerusalem Anglo, people there in the German colony. Those of you who've been there, this kind of clique. I didn't know who he was, and I entered his class, and suddenly Talmud page started to fly in the air. It was so intriguing and so exciting, and I was so stunned by the fact that I didn't know of it before. I mean, again, I knew, but nothing. And I became a student of Hartman himself in the institute, and now I've been working at Hartman for over 15 years. And I'm very glad. That's where I also met Yakir, and we studied together for, 2-3 years.
Was my teacher.
And it's a great place to work in. I feel that sometimes it's how to turn your psychoanalysis into a profession. All our inner tensions with Judaism and Jewish culture and Jewish identity, they're turned into hopefully something constructive and not destructive. And actually about these kinds of tensions I would like to talk today. I hope they will be, I've been walked through the exhibitions. I've seen the kibbutz one and the utopia one, and also the ones on the upper floor. Mainly we would focus on the kibbutz and the utopia one. I think we'll start with analyzing a moment where people stood and did something, sang two songs that are completely contradictory. They were kibbutz people, and I still recall that moment because I was studying in a labor movement school in Tel Aviv, primary school. It was a wonderful school from first grade to 8th grade. And as an adult, and in a way it was a kibbutz in the city. We had a dining room, all kinds of things that from kibbutz. Of course, we didn't share our parents' salaries and all of that. It wasn't a socialistic community, but it gave out this kind of education and worldview. Now, one of the moments that I recall as a child, as a student there, was May 1st. Okay, May 1st.
May
May Day,
Workers' Day.
Communist Day.
Communist Day. Actually, you know, it started in the United States. It's a US-made day. It started in Chicago. Sure. Yes, I think in Chicago. As a day of labor movement solidarity. So you see, first of all, you say Communist Day, but actually it started here. So that's an interesting take of how we see those moments and times in history. But generally, of course, it's also combined with May 1st, which was a spring holiday in many
May Day dances around the maypole.
In many European countries. So, like so many other festivals that were transformed into a secular moment, they had their religious background or cultural, ethnic background before. But that doesn't matter anymore. May 1st was in Israel for the socialist movements, for the kibbutzniks, for the labor movement, the holiday,
and for all the students.
And for all the students, because they had a day
and
off.
in other places in the world.
Of course.
It's everywhere except, for me it was very big in South America, in Uruguay. I mean, everybody goes out in the streets. It's a big celebration.
It's a parade.
It's all over Europe. It's
Sure.
only in the United States that it doesn't happen. But
It's not popular in the United States.
Of course,
Even though
I
you said
think
it started.
if I'm not sure, I'm not definitely sure, but from what I've learned, your Labor Day is a way to counter May 1st. Is to give workers a day of, vacation and shopping. Of course, that's America. But in a way that will separate it from that. Okay.
okay.
But of course, it's an international day. That was part of the celebration. By the way, I think that in the exhibition itself, there is a photo. I'm not sure, but you can find it also on the. Many people from kibbutzim and also from labor movement. They were going either to Russia or to socialist gathering in Europe or to the United States. By the way, to participate. It was their Yom Kippur, right? Yom Kippur is the day that you see everyone that you don't see on any other day. People who don't attend on Yom Kippur, you know that you'll never see them again, right? The people pay dues for a synagogue. If they don't appear on Yom Kippur, that's kind of okay. So May 1st was that kind of day, a gathering of people that were part of this movement of the international labor movement, either communist, socialist. Of course, the divisions are very important, but for here, they're not. Okay, so what happened on May 1st was something very important, and I wanted to point out to that tension, which I hope you'll see is connected to the exhibition and what you try to portray, the utopia, okay, because it's also connected to the utopia exhibition, and we'll study together, and then of course this is a discussion, not me now, talking for an hour or more. Take a quick look on the. Sure. Yeah. Take a quick look on the banner here. It was a poster. It was a big poster. It was published by the Histadrut, the workers' union. Okay. הסתדרות הכללית של העובדים העבריים בארץ ישראל in 1952. Now, what is so striking about it can be really depicted here very well. But there are two things happening at the same time. The person, who is of course a muscular man, okay, he is constructing what? What is he building? The wall with the menorah, okay, with the emblem of the State of Israel, with the menorah, with the this logo of the State of Israel. On the right, on top of this poster is the flag. Which flag?
Israel.
Israeli flag, of course. And behind this guy you can't see it because this is in black and white. There is the red flag.
Sorry,
No, is
yeah.
that
No,
the
okay. Never mind. But let me. I can even. Never mind. Believe me. Okay, it's a red flag. Now, this is something that we have to explore, and I would like to explore this moment of waving two flags that are not necessarily, and I would like to claim even necessarily not, very comfortably living together. Okay, so people are waving, excuse me for a moment, Sigal, they're holding two flags in their two hands and waving them, metaphorically or not. In those parades of May 1st, there were always Israeli flags and the red.
They were.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course. You know what? You don't believe me? Frankie, let's go for
We
it.
do
Let's
believe
go.
you.
No, I know. I'm just joking.
Of course.
1 במאי.
And the schmutz usually.
Well, many
Of
idealistic
course.
Jewish people from all over the world who were left-wingish and communists and socialists went to live in Israel.
Yes, but I'm saying, here you can see many of them in color, and you can see.
Here's the second one is.
Yeah. Let's take here, okay? Beautiful. You can see it. It's not a photo. It's a poster again. But you can see the combination. The combination of the red flag and the white and blue flag, the national and the socialist. It's not very easy that they go together. Okay. Now, I want to even emphasize the dilemma here, which was a classical socialist Zionist dilemma, through two songs. One of them you know very well, the other one you know, but let's... the first, I would like to... The first song, both songs were sang by people that were very, very excited by both. This is what also very important. I remember myself standing, as a child, with a blue shirt, with a red ribbon, singing the International, okay, the anthem of the international labor movement, translated into Hebrew in the 1920s by Shlonsky, was a very famous poet. And when the ceremony ends, we sing Hatikva. Okay, wait a second. As a child, you do many things that you don't ask. But when you don't ask why. Your mother light candles, you light candles. You eat the cake, you eat the challah, you do that, you dance. You don't ask. This is it's trivial. But as an adult, or as a person in a museum, which that's what you do, right? You are a translator of culture to people who are entering into this institution, right? You're the narrators. You're telling a story, okay? There is a story here. We can't overlook the fact that singing one is actually biting and swallowing the other. And I want to tell you why. Okay. Let's hear for a moment. Is there anyone willing to read the English translation? It started, this is an anthem. It started from a French guy. We won't go into the whole history of the International. There is an literal translation of the English to English from the French original. Anyone is willing to read? Your English is much better than mine, please.
Stand up, ones who are branded by the curse, all the world starving and enslaved, our outraged minds are boiling, ready to lead us into a deadly fight. We will destroy the world of violence down to the foundations, and then we will build our new world. He who was nothing will become everything.
Okay.
And the chorus?
This will be a final battle, okay, with the international. It's here with E because it comes from the French. Humanity will rise up. Now, let's just listen to the music. You know it. It was an anthem of the Russian regime. This is the Hebrew.
March.
If you're guiding the kibbutz exhibition, you have to know it by heart.
Maybe we have to play it.
Walk. This is a march. Okay, we can. Okay. Now, the melody is the same melody. You have the translation to all the languages of the Western world for sure.
course.
To Arabic, by the way, to Yiddish.
Of course.
You can find it in YouTube, a Yiddish version of it. It was very important for the Bund movement. You know, the Bund, the socialist Jewish movement, that was the largest Jewish movement in Eastern Europe between the world wars. The first and the second.
partisans, I think, sang.
There was a song of the partisans.
Right.
That's something else. But
The Bund.
the Bund, you know, find it on YouTube. It's you want to. It's amazing.
By the
Zusammen,
way,
zusammen.
I'm from Uruguay, South America, and I lived in Argentina.
Okay.
But in Argentina and Uruguay, you know, there is a big
Sure.
socialist
Yes.
and left-wingish movement, and they always would participate in all the 1st of May marches. And in my family, it was. They were not very much into going to the marches, but they participated. Everybody participated. It's just in the United States that we are alienated from the rest of the world. Like they have world's football. The rest of the world does not participate.
That's
also,
an American.
So it's like another culture. It's not that it does not
So
exist.
that was really
So
connected
that's what
to
you're
Europe. Yeah,
trying
sure.
to tell us.
And it was very Jewish as well. Now, I want to emphasize one line here, which is nicely translated into English, but not as powerful as the Hebrew translation. And it goes like, Olam yashan adei yesod nachriva. We will destroy the old world. This is now, I'm reading the Hebrew and translating literally, the Hebrew translation, okay? We will destroy the whole world completely. And the last lines are, Lo chlum etmol, machar hakol. Yesterday is nothing, kind of. Tomorrow is everything. What does it mean?
Get rid of your past.
Exactly. In other words, past,
Forget it.
forget it. Past, olam yashan, to the ashes. I want to be blunt. I mean, this is not a hagimushi way of, oh yes, we can accept some of it. No. And that's why. Why? Where does it come from, this anger? The old world is what?
Done.
What is the old world? Privileged aristocracy, hand in hand with churches and rabbis. In that sense, it doesn't matter. All aimed at one point. To do what?
Forget.
To build a new.
Erase.
Not to do what to us, the workers. All of them.
Suppress us.
To suppress us, to exploit us, to sell us all kinds of myths, right? The religion is the opium
of the
of course.
masses.
But you know, people cherish that. Especially, not all of them were atheists, but they were anti-clerical, anti-religious establishment. It's not necessarily the same, okay? But certainly, even for those who had some religiosity, they had a deep resentment for religious establishment that they felt that was always for the privileged. Whether it be the church, Protestant, Catholic, and the rabbis as well. They're all the same. And so, this line, which is so blunt, nothing yesterday. The past, erase it. Erase it. Forget it. Because the past inherently brings with it all the old tradition of bourgeoisie and all those merits that only the a certain group, and we want to break it. All those shekels are done. Now, when you are showing, the exhibition downstairs, and you look on children in a special dormitory, okay, why?
So they can learn a philosophy, that the kibbutz wants to teach.
You're right, Deborah. But it's not that they will learn a philosophy.
They will
It's
live
that they
it.
will live it.
They will live it.
And they will live those bourgeois way of life when every parent have their children and they're feeding them and necessarily neglecting other children that might be their comrades in the same class no, we're breaking that. We have and by the way, that in Israel there were in the movement of rural settlements, kibbutz, there was another mode, moshav, the moshav. Maybe some of you know. You know what was the main division between moshav people and kibbutz people?
The children.
Sure.
Yeah.
The first moshav, Nahalal, in the Jezreel Valley, was established in 1920 or 21 by people that split from Ganya, the first kibbutz, and one of the main arguments was whether the children will be raised by their parents or in the children house.
What's the difference between a moshav and the newer version of kibbutzim today?
Actually, the newer version is closer to the moshavim. In a way. But then, that was the debate. People say, "Oh, why did they split? It looks the same." No, of course, there wasn't a division of property like in the moshav, like in the kibbutz. They weren't as much socialist as, but that was just a derivative, an outcome of the main debate. And the debate was, what is the atom? What is the particle? The smallest particle kernel of our community. The individual or the family. And the Moshavniks, they thought a child should be raised in a family. And the Kibbutzniks, who went for let's break the shackles of the old world. All traditions are doomed. And the family is a bourgeois construction. Let's break from it. Let's do something else. Now, whether we like it or don't like it, whether there are people who came out of it traumatic, sure. But there were some of it was amazing. I remember as a child in my school in Tel Aviv, which was not, we didn't sleep together, but a sense of a children's society that we're sovereigns. We were the sovereigns of our school to a certain extent, but we played the whole game, with committees and decisions and taking care of the younger ones who were blaming the older ones for beating them through our own without the adults.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly, nothing is yesterday. Today, everything. Okay, so that is one hand. We're everything from scratch. And again, I want to emphasize how radical this is. Nothing yesterday. Lo klum etmol. We take nothing from yesterday. Nothing. Tomorrow, everything. Yes, Deborah.
Could you just say a little where that notion originated?
Oh. First of all, many of them, especially the third Aliyah, okay, after the First World War, they came already from revolutionary Russia. They were all from that region. And as much as we look critically today on that revolution with the end of it, for them, that was revelation. That was almost, but not almost, even more, redemption. Now think that it also happened during and after all those events in the Soviet Union, after the First World War, which this generation of youngsters look upon as the decline the outcome of corrupted Europe. Because you look on this absurd battle of Verdun in France. 800,000 soldiers were killed in Verdun in a fight between the Germans and the French over trenches that span over 2 kilometers. 800,000 young men. Now this generation said, okay, if that's the world, if that's the old world, you know, the Kaiser and the Emperor and the Queen, enough. So a lot of it, by the way, it had an immense influence in the Jewish world, as well on Jews. The sense, you know, Rabbi Kook, an Orthodox rabbi, ultra-Orthodox even, he also looked on the First World War as the messianic event of this is like the Bnei Or Bnei Choshech, like the days of before the Messiah would come, you know, would be disastrous in our you know doomsday. He felt that these were the days because, you know, Europe was to the ashes. You know, it took France 70 years to overcome the absence of men. I mean, not genealogically, you know, there weren't men to reproduce. Okay, so it came from there. That was a general atmosphere. Add to that a sense that Judaism is also, that's it. You know, people say, oh yes, it's I don't know, secularism or all kinds of. Between the First World War and the Second World War, young Jews were deserting by thousands the yeshivot, the old, you know, Torah schools in Eastern Europe, by thousands. They couldn't take it anymore. They felt that it was dooming them to life of misery. It had no meaning anymore to sit with the Talmud. No. What's going on? Our families here are dying in thousands. The world is on its head. Blood is spilled like water, and we're.
But in Eastern Europe,
Yes.
with the pogroms and the image of the Jew that was always the dark and the shtetl, and they felt that it's enough. They wanted a new image, but that's the second aliyah, not the third.
They all had basically the same idea, of course. First of all, that they're hated, but also it wasn't only a revolution against the other against the Gentiles. It was an inner revolution of Judaism. And some would say, and this is now, Sigal, you're touching the heart of the tension, because if it's so bad, and it's futile, I mean Judaism, and it's all, you know, bearded men reading outdated text, doing outdated rituals with a corrupted leadership, then the most natural thing would be to do what?
Become atheist.
Leave it.
Yeah.
Leave it. Adios, Uruguay. Adios, ciao. And many people did. Many people joined the communists. And you know, you look on the Russian the Soviet Revolution, the top rank, you know, they were Jewish. But they were not identified as Jews anymore. I mean, only the anti-Semites looked on them as Jews. But they were, and they became atheists as they were, and they left. But there were many others, and this is the tension I think the kibbutzim are giving us and telling us. They felt that there was something to be fixed in the world and in Jewish life. Not something. I would say a big thing. It from the beginning, okay? But they didn't want to live. They didn't want to live it completely. And so I want to just for a moment move to Hatikva. Okay? because
Everybody knows it's Israel's national anthem.
yes,
I'm guessing everybody knows, but
no,
just in
now
case.
we have Barbara Streisand explaining it.
Oh, sorry.
If there is anyone who doesn't know, we have a teacher here.
For this next song are based on a poem written in 1886, I found out, titled
From the birth of
which
parents.
means our hope.
Her,
Was this her recent
it's
show?
her show in Tel Aviv two
Means our hope.
months ago.
It's deeply moving words on a prayer which suggest that as long as the heart within a Jewish soul still yearns, hope is never lost. So tonight, this very special occasion, I sing this with the continued hope that we may learn from yesterday, live for today, and continue to strive for a better tomorrow.
She left out the towards Zion.
It's live. Sure, and we'll speak about it in a moment. People are standing. They didn't expect that you would sing the national anthem. So.
I don't know if she was sick or not. Yeah, it's a little scratchy.
Barbara, I couldn't get in there. This meeting was
Sold out.
it was sold out in 20 minutes. Barbara.
I love seeing her name written in Hebrew. I love seeing her name written out in Hebrew, like the translation of Barbara.
So, but let's translate. Let's. I mean, so many of us heard the words, know the song, but for a moment, let's dive into it for a few minutes, okay? As long as in the heart within a Jewish soul still yearns, and onwards towards the ends of the east, and eye still gazes towards Zion, our hope is not yet lost. Okay? So there is a condition here. Right? If then, what's the if?
They're still yearning.
If